When you
Yeah.
first started to talk about like, okay, when fish are in the water, okay, they're in this thing that's like it has more of a viscosity, so we can understand that um, there's something they're in, and we're in air. I'll even go beyond that. Is like we are a part of the universe. We exist in this fabric of matter and antimatter. Like we are a part of the whole. And so these ideas that we are separate is truly an illusion. Like we have all made of the exact same atoms and neutrons and electrons, and we're all in this fabric together. And there are capabilities and skills I truly believe that we have that we either have forgotten or don't understand or we hide them. But I truly believe there's so much capacity for skills and capabilities that we are not taught, ranging from even something we now are starting to talk about is like emotional intelligence. But I think there's even way more. Like when we talk about these systems, this is an intelligence that does exist within us, but we either have forgotten the rules or been conditioned into trying to be inorganic and break the rules. But when we respect the integrity within ourselves and the integrity of the system, then life flows. Abundance flows, success flows, love flows, respect flows, and there's an ease. And so this is our attempt to start to talk about and kind of decode one of the most potent methodologies, technologies, tools that we support to bring to organizations and businesses. I hope it's a valuable attempt to show that as individuals, we are a part of a system. We are a part of human groups. And those groups, there is corrective mechanisms that exist within our brain and body so that we can operate in those groups, so that we can operate as a collective. And that when we ignore certain principles, we do bring dysfunction and disease because it is the system's attempt to recorrect and rebalance itself. And so if you're an organization that feels chaotic, somewhere something was missed. And the amazing thing about it is if you can just figure out what was missed, you can correct it. You can bring balance. You can bring intention, awareness, and light to expedite that balancing act. Because what can happen is the seesaw. If we go in one direction, we compensate in the opposite direction, and the seesaw continues. The pendulum continues. How do we bring the pendulum back to center? How do we bring the equilibrium back to center? For me, it's not so magical. It's not so out there. We can do it actually, because amazing people who came before us brought to the light certain ways that we can look at these things. And we don't need to wait for a complete revolution of the self. We don't have to wait for people to become really incredible self leaders. We don't have to wait for you to understand quantum mechanics. Actually, there's a way, as I said, to bring a 4-dimensional concept into a 3-dimensional plane through this amazing method that physically maps the dynamics so that anyone on the planet can see it and instantly realize, oh my God, this is what's happening in my organization. This is how people are relating to each other. This is the secret networks and the secret hierarchies that exist. These are the loyalties I never understood. This is what's motivating people. This is why I can't find the right person for the right role. This is why we're having burnout. All of these questions of like, why, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? And then let's start a workshop or a training or an intervention or an online thing or a yoga class. Of course, it doesn't work because the issue is systemic. You have to change the system to get a different outcome. I go back to the football field. If you rearrange the players, you'll get different outcomes. So the manager on the side can scream and yell and shout all he wants. But until the players reorganize in a new system, the outcome will be the same. So if you want a different outcome, look at the structure, look at the system, look at the roles, look at how people occupy those roles. And then after all of that, we can talk about stylistic differences. We can talk about if a leader is selfish or empathetic. We could talk about if they have the skills of communication. But if you're not setting them up for success by having the functional system in place, then it doesn't matter because the results will repeat themselves. Or you end up putting an amazing person in a role where they feel completely powerless because they're beholden to the forces of the board and their management team and the employees secretly doing something stupid and the customers and the communities because they haven't understood that they're in a system. So they think that they're constantly under pressure, that they're constantly the victim of all these bodies putting forces upon them. And that's one of the big reasons I think we see CEOs with this learned helplessness thing, which is like, I actually have no control over my life. I am beholden to the board and my employees and my customers. There's nothing I can do. I actually am just a puppet. And I would say that there is a way to transform that. One is learn how to be a self-leader with full integrity, autonomous. Two, take a look at your systems, your human systems. As we say in 3Peak, trademarked, patent pending, are functional human systems. That's something that can really transform an individual experience, a collective experience. This is one of the most important topics. I'm so happy we got a chance to finally talk about it and start to find the words, because we can start to talk about the symptoms, but it's hard to find the right words to describe what's actually happening at times because it is new. We're talking about is a revolution in a way.